Hey, what's up, y'all? CP from Blue Eclipse Productions, and I'm back again. This video, I tentatively, if that's a word, I don't know, I'm kind of tongue-tied. But anyway, it's called Room Acoustics. Now, I mentioned a video of my previous video, or I mentioned something about it, but I didn't really go into detail because it's one of those things where, depending on the type of approach you take, can either be beneficial or it can be very confusing. Um, I'm more the kind of person where I'm gonna just give it to you in a very simple explanation, and I mean, if you're looking for like a more of a complicated, not complicated, but if you, all I'm gonna do is teach you the basics, and if you want to supplement that by researching it further, finding documents, articles, things of that nature, or maybe if you're in college, you want to ask your professor, as far as like the physics of sound and you know all the details that it actually comes from, because room acoustics is a derivative under the umbrella of sound acoustics. So if you want to take it a step further, by all means do it. Like I said, I'm not really going to go into that much detail, but it doesn't hurt in the long run. The more you know, the better it'll be for you when when you're treating different rooms and sizes and all the different things that I'm going to be talking about. But this video is just basically aimed for the average person. You're in a crib, like say you're in like a house or an apartment. You got a small room, or not even really a small room, maybe like a medium-sized room, or just basically you're not in a gigantic studio or a big room. It's basically a small bedroom type setting. So that's why I'm going to explain it from that point of view. Alright, but let me see here. How can I get started on explaining this? Where's that tool at, if I can remember how to rock this? Like I said, I'm kind of rusty with this paint thing. Alright, let's go back to that room example. So you got a room. Shoot. Yeah, now it's messing with me. Okay, you got a room. Boom, boom. And then I need that line tool. Okay. Alright, and then inside of this room, obviously, is your desk. And your two monitors. And they got the nice little subwoofers and it's not the round tool. You got your bottom parts of the speakers. Alright, but you have your basic room setup. And this is basically the number one problem that happens with people who don't really understand room acoustics. Now, again, the basic definition of room acoustics is the study of sound behavior in a room. It's that simple. But like I said, it can be complicated to explain. But the easiest way to understand it is, think about it for a second. We're in this room, we're trying to mix. Now this is after we've done what I was telling you to do in the first video, which is positioning the desk in the center of the room. You got your speakers in an equilateral triangle listening spot, so that way you're in the sweet spot and whatnot. And okay, so you start mixing 2 or 3 songs, but you're not quite happy with the results, and you're not really understanding why. Or matter of fact, the number one thing that happens is a situation like this. Like, say you're working on a bass line. It sounds phenomenal in your room. It's knocking, it's vibrating, it sounds incredible. And then you take it out to the car, and it's like, oh my God, where's the bass? Where did it go? Or here's another situation. Like, say you're working on some reverb, and it sounds really open and nice and lush when it's in your room, but then when you take it out to the car, same thing. Or you take it to another studio or a boombox or someplace else, it sounds different. And the reason why is because even though you've got everything positioned correctly as far as listening to the music, there's other things that are going on in the room that will affect your sound. Now, I mentioned about comb filtering, and what else did I say it was? I can't remember. But no, but I mean, basically, what happens is, let me see if I can find a good color to explain. Let me try orange. Okay. Now I know sound waves are a spherical phenomenon, meaning like it's a circular explosion of energy and the molecules move around the room. That's the complicated way of saying it. Alright, a better way of explaining it is like this. Like, let's just say, like I said, you have a sound, it ricochets around the room. In certain cases, the sound will do, like, let's just say you're in a room and the sound is doing this. It comes from the speaker, it bounces off the wall, bounces off the rear wall, if you can use your imagination, and it comes right back to you. Like, say you're here, you're listening, you're jamming, you're in your little office chair. Sorry about my little crude drawing, you know what I mean? But yeah, the sound will actually come back over to where you're sitting, and it can either increase the frequency in decibel or it can decrease, like it can cancel itself out. Now, obviously, if it cancels itself out or if it brings down the decibels, what's the first thing you're gonna want to do when you're mixing? Oh man, well, why I can't really hear it over here? Well, shoot, let me go on ahead and EQ it and boost it. You know, and I know I'm skipping ahead of topic because some of y'all may never have heard of EQ boosting and cutting and whatnot. That'll be explained in a separate video. But for the people that have already been mixing, like I said, to try to remedy the problem, you start boosting the EQ, right? But again, you take it back, you know, to the car, different speakers, different setup, and then now all of a sudden that bass that you couldn't hear is just extremely loud and muddy and it's messing everything up, you know? Or say you got another situation like the sound is coming from the speaker and bouncing back and it's making it louder than the bass really is. So you decide, okay, let me grab the EQ and let me cut from that lower bass region. And then, like I said, now you have no bass line on most people's setups because, you know, you were thinking under the impression of your room that, hey, in order for me to fix this problem, I need to get some EQ, or I need to grab this tool or that tool, or like I said, you get on the message board, you're mad, you're frustrated, dude, how can I solve this problem? Alright, so let's take it a step back. If you want to solve the problem, this is where you need to understand room acoustics and sound reinforcement. When you know about the sound reinforcement, there's little techniques that you can do to help prevent the sound from being out of control. Like, for example, let me grab my tool again. What you can do as an alternative to fix the problem, especially with bass, is a little contraption called a bass trap. A bass trap is basically something that literally absorbs the bass sound. It tries to trap it so the sound doesn't bounce all over the place and mess you up when you're trying to mix. So, like, for example, usually a bass trap will be set up like in the corner like this, boom, and then over here, boom, you know. And I didn't mean to mix up my colors. Let me redraw that one more time. But I want it to be brown. But what'll happen in this situation with the bass traps is, like I said, it'll help absorb the bass when it gets into the different parts of the room. So instead of the sound bouncing all over the place and coming back and messing you up, the sound can basically go here and that's the end of the road. Or it'll at least suppress it to where you're back here, you're mixing, having a good time, like I said, you're in your chair, and that bass is not coming back into the flow of the speaker sound from the original source. It's not adding dB or taking away dB or introducing problems. You're getting the sound without interruptions from the rest of the room. And this happens not only with bass, it can happen with mid-range frequencies, high-range frequencies, and it could be something as simple as that, where had your room been treated, you wouldn't have made the choices that you made with mixing the song. So that's why I'm stressing the importance of understanding room acoustics, so that way you can use bass traps and you can use broadband absorbers. And to explain a broadband absorber is just, it's similar to a bass trap, except instead of focusing solely on the bass region, a broadband absorber tries to capture all of the the ranges of sound, usually mid-range and high range and a little bit of the low end, but not as low as a bass trap. But you want to use bass traps to get the low end. You want to get broadband absorbers to try to take care of the mid-range and the high range. And actually, depending on the size of your room, there's actually another tool called a diffuser, which is, it's kind of like a broadband absorber, but it doesn't actually absorb the sound. It actually redirects the sound away from your ear. Meaning, like, you usually put a broadband absorber, I'm sorry, a diffuser, like say in the back wall right here, and then if the sound comes to this back wall with a diffuser, is that it'll point the sound into other directions until the energy dies, instead of letting the sound come directly back to you. Because like I said, the same way the sound can come and bounce back without bass traps, it can also bounce back behind your ear if you don't have a diffuser set up. But that diffuser is a little more complicated. It depends on if you're in a big room, a small room, and whatever's going on. But usually you can get away without having a diffuser. All you need are bass traps and broadband absorbers. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna pick up the camera. I don't really like to show off my room too much, man, and my setup, but I mean, it's better if you see it physically in action, and then, you know what I'm saying, you can compare for yourself and whatnot. So let me go ahead and pick up this camera. Alright, so this right here is one corner of my room, and this long upholstered fabric little device right here is basically my broadband absorber, you know what I'm saying? Now, the reason why I got a gap right here is because, I mean, shit, I got 9-foot ceilings. Didn't really anticipate that 2 8-footers would leave such a massive gap, but like I said, it gets the job done. You know what I'm saying? It's built by me. I got my Bavila on. I used some wood. I used some materials. Built it myself. Hung it up. You know what I'm saying? With some S hooks and some wire, and boom, and I'm good to go. And if we scan over here, you know what I'm saying? Got another one over here in front of my microphone stand and my keyboard. You know what I'm saying? 2 right there. And then this ugly shit right here is basically my booth. But, you know what I'm saying? That shit worked, dog. Like, and I'll probably explain that in another video. And then if we go all the way over here, you know what I'm saying? Now, this right here is another one of my bass traps, just in a different fabric. You know what I'm saying? Because these over here, I got them one day in this color. So I got these over here in a different color. I may try to match up the fabrics later on, but that's basically how it is right now, you know what I'm saying? And again, it gets the job done. And then if we could look over here, now I don't really have this position too well. I mean, I was basically rushing and testing this out, but this is an example of my broadband absorber, and I'm actually trying to use it to absorb sounds when they come up to that corner of the wall. And ideally, probably in the future, when I, get around to get my Bavila on again, you know what I'm saying, I'll probably put another one up over here somewhere, or maybe a little bit of diffusion, not diffusion, but another one over there, and it just depends, you know what I'm saying? However I can get my sound to improve, I'll think of different ways. Like, see, I got another one over here, you know what I'm saying? I got this one over here in this corner, all the way over here. Now this is like one of those things where I just ain't really know what to do, man, because like this room doesn't have 4 corners like these corners. It's basically like just an open gap because of 2 doors, you know what I'm saying? And that happens a lot too. But I figure, hey, it's better than nothing, you know what I'm saying? Through a broadband up there with some S hooks, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully that'll absorb a little bit of sound. I may consider put another one over here. But nonetheless, dog, like I said, I ain't trying to give you a tour of my motherfucking crib. I'm just telling y'all, you know what I'm saying, I go hard on my shit, and that's how I did my setup. So let me get back to the computer screen, let y'all in on some more diagrams. If you got any trouble, any questions, please hit me up, cp@blueeclipsepro.com, you know what I'm saying, or like I said, I'll provide some links in the description box of this video.